What makes a science? Science is a way of thinking, much more than it is a body of knowledge, said astronomer and science communicator Carl Sagan. This body of knowledge has benefited us greatly from addressing disease, developing technology, improving our understanding, and increasing our knowledge. In an age where there are numerous ideas vying for our attention, knowing what's a science and what's pseudoscience is an aid to navigating some of these ideas and advertisements. This ties into my first point, science is a way of thinking. My second point, that it has numerous dimensions, and my third point, that thinking scientifically helps with discerning pseudoscience from real science. That we can all benefit from knowing what makes a science, as it will improve our thinking. I feel the bombardment of all sorts of ideas and perspectives, and researching how to think scientifically has benefited me philosophically and pragmatically. First things first, science is a way of thinking. In his book, Science for All Americans, F. James Rutherford states, science presumes that the things and events in the universe occur in consistent patterns that are comprehensible through careful systematic study. Tanya Lombroso's article, What Makes Science Science, Saul Perlmutter is quoted as saying, science is a collection of mental heuristics, mental shortcuts, and tricks that are constantly being invented to sidestep our weaknesses and play to our strengths. It is about evaluating alternatives through reasoning and argumentation and evidence. In short, it is evidence-based thinking. And this evidence-based thinking helps improve our conclusions and probability, and it does not give us certainty. Science employs numerous methods and technologies that each help us in developing questions. And these questions are then used to increase the likelihood of our conclusions being correct, which expands our knowledge and effectiveness. How science can employ these methods and technologies due to its many dimensions. According to the UNDSCI article, The Philosophy of Science, philosophers of science argue there is no simple and single way to define science. It has common operations and principles, however, such as empiricism, which is science is based off of evidence, induction, which is reasoning from the general from the specific to the general. That is, you note different organisms have cells and conclude all organisms have cells. Deduction, which is reasoning from general to specifics, that is, from premises to conclusions, such as all humans are mortal, you're human, so therefore you're mortal, which is kind of dark. And lastly, the principles are parsimony, which is the simplest explanation, is usually the best explanation, and falsification, which is science does not prove, it disproves. With these things said, we are thinking scientifically, and by thinking scientifically, we can discern pseudoscience from real science. Sabina Hassenfelder in her YouTube video, what makes how to tell science from pseudoscience, says science runs on models, which are simplified descriptions of the world as we encounter it. Models are simplifications because it's about how we encounter the world in agreement with measurements. A model is simplified because it captures a pattern in data, and patterns are by nature simplifications. Pseudoscience tends to have too much freedom with its models. Its models have so much freedom that it can fit any data. This is overfitting because the data becomes like a bunch of items that go into a house. The house has two more rooms than the data can fill. And a model with too many assumptions, by being able to account for everything, explains nothing. And pseudoscientific conspiracy theories like the flat earth tend to have contrived assumptions that get around the fact that NASA would have to fake data, fake images, and brainwash every airline pilot for the earth to actually be flat. In short, the JSTOR article states, in What Makes Us Scientific states, it is a subject to scientific because it is amenable to study in accordance with the scientific method, and pseudoscience tends to shortchange this method. With that said, I summarize my point as thus: science being a way of thinking, having numerous dimensions, thinking scientifically, helping with discerning pseudoscience from real science. With all the pseudoscience out there, our way of thinking and discerning will keep us in tune with the scientific process and help us navigate ideas and advertisements and help us know where to invest our resources in developing models and increasing our scientific knowledge. So I leave you with this question: how else can we navigate pseudoscience aside from scientific thought? Thank you for listening.